Who believes that they could survive off of wild edibles, plants that grow in the woods?
That guy right there.
Who? That guy? Thinks he could live off of what grows?
That's what he was saying this morning.
Yeah, what grows on the grocery store shelf.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Let me check. Y'all, I have been extremely busy, so I'm a little bit behind, so if you could just bear with me for a minute.
Yeah, we heard you were the hardest working man.
Down.
Yeah.
So if you could bear with me just a minute, just long enough to make sure I mess this up really good. In all honesty, y'all.
But the bright side is you get to see how it's made at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a bright side to everything if you look hard enough.
In honesty, and as honest speaking as I could be, you're not going to sustain living, eating natural, sourced weeds, plants. You're not. There's not enough calories in plants to sustain you for a long period of time. Okay. With that being said, and I always get this, well, vegetarians do it all the time. Yes, vegetarians do eat only what comes out of the ground. However, they are not naturally sourcing it. They have a garden that's planted with, you know, potatoes, which is starches, and you know, you walk out there, I'm pretty sure you're not going to find a corn stalk with some ears of corn on it, some potatoes in there, maybe some sweet potatoes, a string of beans. Okay. What I'm talking about is naturally, like what's growing wild. Everything from greenbrier to yarrow and all that. So, I said all that just really to hear myself talk. But anyway, the truth of the matter is meat is what we all need. We all need protein, period. So if it's a fish, if it's animal, if it's critter. Am I running late already? Probably am. So, what I've got here is a couple, and like I say again, I apologize for running behind on getting the traps made. You can let that. I've got it.
His bigger problem was he had a slow old man trying to help him.
No. So what this is a bird cage. It looks like a bird cage, right? And I've got it set on a Paiute Deadfall trigger. Okay, this is a Paiute Deadfall. You can use this for bird cages. You can use this in place of a figure 4. Don't have a figure 4 up yet because that thing's on a hair trigger, and then I'll set the figure 4 really fast. But so essentially, you're trying to catch food. Now, the truth of the matter is that traps only work about 2% of the time. 2%. So if you set 100 traps, on average you should catch 2 critters out of making 100 of them. See where I'm going? So you want to greaten whatever chances that you can by using a funnel. And what a funnel is finding a game trail, using the surrounding brush, limbs, dead sticks, whatever, and help the animal go to your trap. Okay? Animals are a lot like me. They like to eat and they're lazy. Pretty much like me, I like to eat and I'm lazy. So I don't want to go clambering over something when there's an open path. So I'll go through an open path of least resistance, water, electricity, everything path of least resistance. So with something of this nature, I would have some berries or whatnot laying in here. Okay, that's what happens whenever the bird touches this, which is the bait stick. That's all he's got to do is touch it, and he's trapped. Now, when there's a bird in there, how do you get him out?
I've always seen it go to the top, take the top, and come to the top and pick him up.
Okay. The whole bird cage is set on tension, right? So, which means that each one of these are holding the string tight. So if you were to take this out, it will actually release the tension and the whole thing could actually crumble. You do not pick it up. Oops, the stick came out. I got it. If you pick it up, what's he gonna do?
Fly out. Fly out.
Yeah.
You have to either cover it so you can't see it, or you have to squish them.
Yeah, I don't like squishing a bird.
I mean, dispatch them.
Well, yeah, okay. Hey, the only reason I was saying that is I've seen birds get squashed, and it's nasty. It's nasty, and I really don't want to eat. So, the easiest way is to come about 3 or 4 tiers down from the top. Slide this, well, slide that in so you can actually reach your hand in, and then grab it. You see, when I move that one a little bit too far, the whole thing crumbles.
Now, Steve, are they always delicate like that, or is it because that's a slippery material
That's
right there?
Very slippery.
That's why
material.
that happened.
That's why that. That's
yeah,
why
but
it's so
now
delicate.
couldn't you got a knife on you if you're hunting mammals, birds? What about just making a spear, sticking it in there, spearing that bird?
You can. Have you ever tried to spear a moving bird?
Well, if he's moving, he ain't moving much in there.
No, that's true. That's true. And
Now a moving bird in this field?
But
oh yeah.
But you see what I'm doing? I mean, so
you're gonna knock one of the boards loose.
However, it will work. It will work, and I've seen it work. I've seen some people actually use a pointy stick. Okay, now spear.
That's what a little dart, you know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not talking atlatl spears or anything. Yeah. I got your ass.
Even a gig would work probably for most.
Yeah, frog gig.
Would work.
Yeah.
This is about the size of bird that's going to be in there. So even with.
You don't want to rebuild that.
Yeah, if you want to. That's going to be a pain, but see how much room he takes up, which is very little. So if he's running in circles, it will be kind of.
Oh, but he's terrified. You know, he's trapped. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not just. Yeah, he's terrified.
Yeah, I'm a hunter, and I know how animals act when they're scared, especially wounded and scared.
Right, and especially like in a live trap. Y'all seen like the rabbit gums and box traps and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
A live trap, relocating cage, whatever. You catch a squirrel in there, whatever, it's in your attic, you catch a squirrel. When you go up to that cage, that squirrel will knock himself out running back and forth in that cage trying to get out. He's running at it that hard just because he's scared. But
well, not only that, you stick your hand in that trap, scared animal.
He's tearing you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't, he's bad.
Yeah.
I usually work when I go to get the trap, just because they want to come up over the top of that trap and get you.
I tell you, if you want to put that back together, Rod, and I'll move on. This is who gets the pocket box. This is Preach. Okay, and everybody know what this is?
Figure 4.
Nope, it's not a figure 4.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not sure I can't remember the name he calls that one.
Okay, this here is it's actually a Siberian deadfall, and it works on the premise of 2 sticks side by side that are trying to separate. Okay, so this stick, which is your bait stick, your bait would be on the very end right here. So whenever the animal comes and pushes on that, that's what the 2 sticks release and drop the weight on the animal. But that's a Siberian deadfall. I've heard people on like YouTube and things like that say a 2-stick deadfall or whatever, but it actually is a Siberian deadfall. Easy peasy to make. Your 2 sticks are like this. They're trying to do this. Okay, so this bait stick with the little notch is what prevents it from coming apart. Can y'all see?
So then as soon as they try to get whatever bait,
as soon as they hit
separate
the trigger,
and
then
drop.
it goes down and it's done. But that is a Siberian deadfall. I'm using rotted wood, and
between that and the figure 4 are both about the same.
Both are very similar.
Is setting up wise, let's put it that way.
Yeah, setting up wise, both are very similar.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time on a table that's rolling downhill. But that's all it takes to set it. A figure 4 has a very similar premise. But once again, all the animal does is hit that, and that releases it. Now look. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait a while.
So is this a hair trigger? No. The animal, the bait that's on there needs to be on here, so the animal actually has to pull on it, work on it, step on it, whatever, to get this to release, because it is not a hair trigger.
So whatever bait you got, chew it up, macerate it, smash it into that bait stick.
Smash it into this thing, you know, make a gob
Make
on the
them
end
work
of
for it.
And that way the animal has to like tug on it and all that. Now, is this going to squish the animal to death? No. It will not squish the animal to death. It is going to knock it out. Okay? And then, in the truth of the matter is, it's going to suffocate. When it exhales, there's not enough strength in its lungs to
fill
keep the
back
weight
up.
of this up to inhale, so it actually prevents the animal from breathing. That's what actually causes the animal to dispatch. It's not a squish. Now, if I've got a 30-pound rock up here, and I set up a Paiute deadfall, which is a hair trigger, and a little bitty mouse gets under it, yeah, he's a pancake. I mean, that's just, he's done. But, so the Siberian deadfall, like I said, I wanted to go over a couple things. This is a figure 4. This is one of Creek's kits. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Okay. And the figure 4 is, you've got your base, right? He does a funny little notch in the back, and I know why he does a notch too. This is a figure 4, right? Everybody see why it's called a figure 4?
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Again, that's not a hair trigger. So you set your bait stick as close to the edge as possible to make it a hair trigger. That makes sense? That way,
Hang on to it.
Go ahead, I got it.
Does go, then it collapses and the weight goes down on them. So the figure 4, same principle. It's all held together by tension. Causes a bait stick. Okay. You're doing great, Rod. Keep it up, brother.
Yeah.
You'll be done by the time the class is. I love you for it too, man. All right. Did anybody notice this little snare here?
Did you want?
Yep. The Ojibwa bird snare.
Bamboo without notching them.
Now, the Ojibwa bird snare is one of my favorite bird snares, period. It just is. It's fun to make. I love the premise behind it, how it goes together, how it works. It's something easily made. You can actually use paracord. This string is just a little sweat bee right there. This string is just a very almost like dental floss. You can use about anything. Huh?
How do you spell that?
O-J. I'm gonna cheat.
W-A-E, maybe? It's almost like how it sounds.
O. Yeah, I gotta put glasses on.
It's like the old Ouija board.
Yeah, like a Ouija. A Ouija. O-J-I-B-W-A. Ojibwa. Yes, sir. So, I've made several of these, and I actually, in my den, I'm one of them really crazy people. I've got a tree mounted to the side of my desk, so I will make traps and everything sitting in the inside where it's nice and cool and comfortable, and I got my sweet tea. I'll attach it to the tree that's bolted to my desk, or I'll play with it in the floor.
If that's crazy, then I guess I'd like to be crazy too. That sounds that sounds like that'd be fun to have in the house.
Hey, it's my den. There's a few things in my den that are.
Wife, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I want to use the trap my wife.
Ah.
I gotta put it into practice
Then
too.
you're gonna want to go to something like a twitch up.
She's hanging from the
She's
ceiling.
not gonna jump onto this. I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna build one of them big bird traps.
There
She'll
you
never
go.
notice that in the living room.
See
Never.
what happens when I keep talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. This trap, just so y'all see. You see what I've got holding by that little bitty wire? Now the way the Ojibwa works, you probably cannot see it. There's a little knot right here. It's just a little overhand knot right here in the middle of the string. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yep.
That knot is going to lock against the weight right there. I'll show you what I mean by that. Pull the knot out. Oops. Every trap, every snare is going to be finicky to a point, and you want that. Okay. Now that little bitty knot that I showed you is what's holding all that weight.
You're kidding.
Mm-mm.
That's unbelievable.
That little bitty knot.
I believe because I
Yeah.
can trust you saying that.
Yeah, no,
that's unbelievable.
That little bitty knot, because what it is, okay, this is your limb or your branch that the bird would sit on, okay? This is actually what's holding the noose, the snare out. The tension of that little knot between the base and the limb, that one little knot, and that's what's got everything locked together. But that's also what makes it really light. Because, I'll use my little quail, when a bird does come and sit down on this, oops, he's like, weighs nothing. Wow. Okay, so when a bird lands on it, now he's caught. He's caught. And if y'all want to walk by and feel how heavy this is a good, what, 8 pounds.
You bait that also to make the bird
Just
land
this
on
thing
it?
here, just the whole thing, right?
That's a lot of weight.
That is. And then that little bitty thing up there isn't hardly anything.
Yep. And he's
Wow.
and he's caught, and he's sitting there waiting on you to come dispatch him.
Would you bait that also to branch it lands on?
You can, if you've got something very available in your area. Most birds will roost to eat or rest. You know what I mean? Because if they dump on the ground, they're picking up worms. They're going after whatever's on the ground. But this works best. Like this area here, I would make 3 or 4 of these, make it sound like a little tree, and set it over there somewhere that there's not other trees around. You will have birds come and jump to it. Put in some berries and that sort of thing on there is not bad by any source of imagination, any stretch of imagination. Using some berries, using anything like that, and that will work. Everybody see? Ow, 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 ow. I get down, I can't get back up. For those of you that don't know me, I had back surgery on January 4th, and I had another back surgery on June the 28th. So I'm still in the healing process. So there's times that I'll
We're happy to have
lock
you show
up.
up.
There are times I will lock up. So that little knot pulls against it. That's what holds it. Uh-oh. And this will work time and time again. Y'all heard of bird chains? Or a bird chain trap? Who knows what a trot line is when you're fishing, right? So a bird chain essentially is a whole bunch of these nooses that are hanging from one string, and you would stretch that in between these 2 trees, okay, and have numerous nooses hanging, so when a bird flies through, it just snares them. It's 150% luck, okay? But they do work, and you can string up several of them.
And you're not, when it's working for you, if it's while you're doing other stuff.
Exactly. Whenever this, well, he really grabbed that thing hard. Whenever you have traps and snares set, traps and snares are working when you're not. So if I have this set up, it's working right now, waiting on a bird, okay? I can go work on my shelter, I can go harvest, I can go set other traps, whatever needs to be done. I can handle that, and this is going to be working, okay? Traps, snares, these are all primitive. These are all can be made with a knife and some cordage. Cordage can be naturally sourced cordage, roots of pine, okay, the little bitty tiny roots, cottonwood bark. I mean, there's so much stuff you can make cordage out of, or your shoelaces, okay, and you can make it. A figure 4 requires 0 cordage, just wood. I make my traps at night, sitting at the campfire, you know, and we're just talking and cutting up, and I'm making traps, okay. This one is a twitch up snare, okay, and this one requires an engine. Now, this is the engine. The engine typically, right, the spring or the engine would typically be a sapling, okay, and you want, imagine that this is the game trail right here. So here's the snare, okay, and you would bring this over, see where,
Why don't you let me bend this, do this?
I got it, I just had to get right. So it's going to fall about right there. So facing, say if this is the game trail, and I'm going to have this facing in like so. Gracias, mijo. I did not make this one, Alan did. Where's Alan, so I can blame it on him? Alright, go ahead. Yeah.
And
Do not stick your head over this thing, because it will hurt, okay? That's experience talking. It hurts. Okay.
These two sticks just have an interlock like this.
This thing came back and got me.
Yeah.
They're just notched out so they fit each other.
All right.
What they are, those are 2 7 notches. Okay, so you got a 7 on the top and a 7 on the bottom that are hooking together like this. And I'll pass this around so everybody gets a closer look at it. So when the animal comes through this snare, and he'll come through the snare, and that's what happens. That easy, that quick. These are set up on a hair trigger. These are set up where it takes very, very, very little for that thing to go off. And it snares and it holds. Now that animal is held. With the force that spring gives, you want your noose 1.5 times the size of the head of the animal, okay? So that it will go through its head, but he won't be able to walk through it. You know, you don't want a noose this big for a squirrel. Squirrel will just walk right through. Noose for a squirrel, this big, okay? His head goes through, no problem. His shoulder or his leg is what catches it. When he pulls, just like you and I do, if we bump into something, we kind of jerk away from it. He jerks away that instantly, boom, gone, and it's up. You can also use this for fishing, which is one of my favorite things. Instead of using the snare wire, you would attach fishing line on here, okay? And then hand toss your fishing line into the water using the snare, so whenever a fish does come up, and when the fish hits it and you feel that little tug on your fishing pole, well, that little tug, well, I just want to stick. That little tug is what does that. So it sets the hook for you. And then you've got a fish on the line, and he's down there breathing, living, and everything is good until you come get him. And then he's breakfast. Or lunch. I like to go bigger animals for supper, but you know, that's just